Yo, what is up guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. It has been a little while since I've made a video talking about Locs. So here is the video that I know you've all been waiting for. I've kind of been trying to test out different types of content, but I've noticed that y'all are really here for the Loc content. So I'm here to deliver more of that type of content. And if you don't know me, my name is Xavier Greatness, also known as Xavier. On this channel, I post Loc content and lifestyle content. Let's jump straight into it. Today's video is going to be about the mental glow up nobody talks about when you get Locs. First thing, when you get your Locs, a lot of people get them and they low-key regret getting them. I know plenty of people who get their starter Locs, and when you see your Locs starting off at a very small and tiny stage, and you have those small little Locs on your head and you're like, damn man, I got little worms on my head, or like people are making fun of you because you just started your Locs and you got the tiny little Locs on your head. Like, don't worry, it is all a part of the process, and that low-key is a start of an amazing journey because you're just now starting out with your Locs. And it's crazy because I remember getting my Locs about a year and a couple of months ago, and I remember when I first got my Locs, I did not like the way my Locs looked at all. You can ask anybody around me, I hated the way my Locs looked. I thought they looked like worms. I didn't think they fit my face shape well, and honestly, if I would have never stuck through that process, I probably would have ended up cutting off my Locs. But that is the start of your Loc journey, and that is the start and the point where you really have to test yourself and see how long you can last with your Locs, and if you're going to be in it for the long haul or not, because most people end up taking their starter Locs out, and the longer that you last throughout this stage is the more you'll reap the benefits of actually having your Locs. And I feel like one of the greatest benefits is actually being able to see your Locs evolve, and it sort of comes with an identity shift because your Locs have to go through these stages of maybe not looking the best on one day. Because I know when I first started my Locs, one day I thought, okay, this isn't too bad and I can actually deal with this. And then the next day I'd be like, bro, why did I get these Locs? Like, I want to cut them off just like I did on the first day when I got my starter Locs. And one of the biggest things that you need to realize is that it's going to take time and patience when you get your Locs. Like, do not cut your Locs. It's one of the biggest mistakes you can make, because when you first have your starter Locs, you're not going to be able to see the end progress of how your Locs are going to look when you get past a year of having Locs. And you'll never make it to that end point if you take your Locs down, or if you end up cutting your hair off halfway through at like 5 months, 6 months of having Locs, when your Locs are starting to bud. And I feel like that point, when you have your Locs, like the first year of having your Locs, it really builds character development. And I genuinely feel like that is when you have to have that patience. Having the most patience is the first year of having your Locs, because the first year of having your Locs, I feel like a lot of people go through the most development throughout the first year. And you feel like your Locs don't look right. You feel like you're doing something wrong. You're looking up methods on YouTube on how to keep your Locs hydrated, on how to take care of your Locs, which is all provided on this channel. And you're just wondering, like, how can I make myself look the best when I have such small Locs? Because we always identify having longer Locs with Locs looking better, which I sort of agree with, but that is also subjective. Just like with any beauty standards, that doesn't mean that because your Locs are smaller that your Locs don't look good. Because when I had my Locs, I think roughly, I want to say, I think it was like 6 months in, if I'm not mistaken. I'll post a picture on the screen and I'll correct myself if I have the date wrong, but I think it was roughly 6 months. I want to say, was it? It was around like 6 months. I want to say 6 months, 7 months maybe. That is when I really enjoyed the look of my Locs. And you know, some people could say, oh, your Locs are super small, and like, I don't really like the look of your Locs. But what is most important is how you feel about your Locs. One of the biggest mistakes you can make when you get Locs is relying on other people's judgment of your own hair and applying that to yourself. You yourself knows how you look, and you know how you feel in your own body. And I want you to embody the person that feels good in their body when you have Locs. You don't want to put self-doubt on yourself about your Locs not looking good, and you don't want to listen to other people's opinions about your Locs when you first get them, because that can be very detrimental to your journey, and that can change your self-image and self-perception of yourself while developing and having your locks for months on end. I feel like having some sort of progress and a way to track the way your locks look month by month, what I highly recommend everyone to do is every single month that you have your locks, up until however long you want to do it. I think I really stopped taking pictures of my locks and the way they looked around a year and maybe like 4 months or so. But you can do it for however long you want to. I highly recommend doing it every single month, taking pictures of yourself and your locks and keeping progress and track of how your locks look a month to month will definitely help you out when it comes to staying motivated to actually have the patience to have locks and watch them develop, because you need some sort of way to track and measure the growth of your locks and the way they have grown and the way that they look. And I feel like having that sort of evidence of pictures is one of the best things you can do for yourself when you're on this locking journey. And it really helped me out during my journey as well to develop myself while I have my locks. And I feel like that's another thing. You can really gain a lot of self-respect for yourself, because when I first started my locking journey, I don't know if anyone else has done this, but when I first got my locks, I made like a contract to myself that I was going to grow mentally as well as physically with my hair. And I sort of made up this list of things in my mind, like, hey, we're gonna work on this, we're gonna work on that, and we're going to build self-respect for ourselves. Because I feel like when I first got my lock, I was still developing. Like, I've always been into self-improvement and improving myself and trying to change and evolve as time goes on. When I first got my locks, I was like, hey, we're gonna commit to these things, we're gonna do these things. When you set that list of things for you to develop while you also have locks, it not only helps the time pass, but it also builds self-respect for yourself and character development while you are growing your locks out. And I feel like I have so much that has changed in my life in the span of me having my locks. And I feel like so much of my life has changed mentally, but also physically as well. And that's not to say locks are just this super magical superpower. Now, your hair is very, very, very sacred. Keep that in mind. Your hair skins the environment. That's a totally different topic for another video. With that being said, if you want to have some sort of development when you get your locks and you want to become a completely different person and change your life while you're developing your locks, then that is a great way to do it. Because I feel like locks really do hold some sort of attachment and memory, just like any hair would. I feel like that's why some people cut their hair when they are changing, or you transform your hair when you are entering a new era of your life. Because I feel like when I got my locks versus now, I was a completely different person back then versus now. Like, I feel like I'm changing every year as time goes on, which it should feel like that way, but I just feel like I've transformed so much and really have done so much since getting my locks and making that contract to myself mentally, or even on paper if you want to do it that way. And I feel like a lot of you guys can also attest to that too, being a completely different person now versus when you first started your locking journey. I feel like when you do develop and you get to the point where you genuinely enjoy your locks 90% of the time, which is how I feel currently, like I'm really satisfied with where my locks are now, you just feel good and you feel very like, I don't give a fuck like who doesn't like my lock or who sees my locks. And I feel like you develop that when you're going through the journey of having your locks bud up and you're seeing them lock, and you might not be satisfied with how they look now, but at the end of the journey, you really become satisfied with how your hair developed. And it really teaches you the value of being patient with your locking journey and with yourself in general, because it's very important to be patient. And I feel like doing this journey is a form of delayed gratification and a form of discipline, because you have to be disciplined in order to keep up with lock maintenance. You have to keep up with washes. You have to keep up with even just mentally having locks, because it comes with some mental struggles, like I mentioned in this video, not liking the way your hair looks, maybe people talking about you, maybe even getting weird looks out in public. You know, these things are all developing who you are, and it really develops your mindset into not caring and just not giving a damn about what anybody thinks. If anyone can agree with some of these things I talked about in this video, definitely leave a comment down below of, you know, some things that have changed for you once you got Locs, and if you had some sort of glow up mentally after getting your Locs. And also let me know what sort of videos you guys would like to see from me. I'm trying to get more engaged with the community, so it would really help me out if you guys could, you know, let me know what other Loc type of content you guys want to see. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you'd like. Drop a like on this video as well if you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.